Okay. If I knew which was the input there, I could do it there, but one of these days we're gonna finally get around to redoing this.
Right.
Even before we do update the table, I want to basically have Josh or Corey build a new table over there, move the sound equipment down there, put in a whole new panel, because the connections for these are horrible. Okay.
We are live and ready to start when you are.
Great, thank you. Good afternoon and welcome to the Thursday, January 2nd, 2025 organizational and regular meeting of the Henrietta Town Board. I'd like to call the meeting to order. Please call the roll.
Councilmember Page,
Here.
Councilmember Belanca,
Here.
Councilmember Barley,
Here.
Councilmember Stafford,
Here.
Supervisor Schultz.
Here. We'll begin with a silent prayer followed by the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Can I get a motion to approve the minutes?
Mr. Supervisor and fellow board members, I make a motion that we approve the minutes of our preceding meetings, December 11th, 2024, the regular meeting, and December 20th, 2024, the special meeting.
Second.
Any discussion on the minutes?
Nope.
Hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Page,
Aye.
Councilmember Belanca,
Abstain.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford.
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye. Go ahead. I think we go right to the motions.
Steve,
Okay.
We'll miss
Keith.
them.
Mr.
What's that?
Supervisor.
I was just gonna say, give me a minute, I can't,
Okay,
they're not coming up.
it suggests I'll auto install 4:37
Thank you.
PM.
Thanks, Rick, I'm set.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mr. Supervisor and fellow board members, I'd like to make motion one to approve resolutions one through 6 to appoint officers and engage attorneys for the town.
Second.
Any questions or comments? Hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Page,
Aye.
Councilmember Belanca,
Aye.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye.
Mr. Supervisor and fellow board members, I have motion 2 to approve resolutions 1 through 7 and
It's just 1-7.
1-7 and 1-8 of 2025 to authorize internal funds and purchase limits.
Seconded.
Any questions or comments? Hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Page,
Aye.
Councilmember Belanca,
Aye.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford.
He said aye
Aye.
very quickly.
I'm sorry, I didn't catch it. Supervisor Schultz.
Aye.
Mr. Supervisor and fellow board members, I have motion 3 to approve resolution numbers 1-9 and 1-10 of 2025 to adopt town board rules and points of order.
Seconded.
Discussion? Any public comment? Hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Page,
Aye.
Councilmember Belanca,
Aye.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz and fellow board members, I move to approve motion 4 to approve resolution 1-11 and 1-13 of 2025 to establish the town business hours, holidays, and recreation center policies.
I'll second. I'll note that we added a third, so it's should have been 1-11 through 113, but
Oh,
that's not your fault. It's
Thanks.
just we added the holiday schedule there, so. Any questions or comments? Hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Page,
Aye.
Councilmember Belanca,
Aye.
Councilmember Barley,
aye.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye. Fellow board members, I have motion 5 to approve resolutions 1-14 through 1-25 of 2025 to appoint or reappoint board members and to appoint chairpersons and liaisons for the boards, commissions, and committees.
Second.
I'll note that after we sent the original notice out to look for new board members, we were informed by 2 of the individuals on the diversity committee, the ad hoc committee, that they will not be able to serve their entire term due to changes in their situation. So we are going to ask one of them. We had one candidate who we knew this was happening for one, so one person is in to be appointed. We just are not reappointing either of the other 2, and we'll just ask them to continue to serve under their previous term until we have a new person. We will be advertising for the position with the plans to appoint somebody in February.
Very good.
Very good.
Any other questions, comments? Hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Page,
Aye.
Councilmember Belanca,
Aye.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Mr. Supervisor and fellow board members, I have motion 6 to approve resolutions 1-26 and 1-27 of 2025 to approve a commercial crime coverage policy and appoint an insurance broker.
Second.
Any questions, comments? Hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
My button wasn't working. Councilmember Page,
Aye.
Councilmember Belanca,
Aye.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye.
Mr. Supervisor and fellow board members, I have motion 7 to approve resolutions 1-28 through 1-31 of 2025 to adopt a guide of hiring procedures and department heads and appointed to board members, approve training, and adopt a salary schedule.
Seconded.
Any questions or comments? Hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Page,
Aye.
Councilmember Belanca,
Aye.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye.
Mr. Supervisor and fellow board members, I have motion 8 to approve resolution numbers 1-32 and 1-33 of 2025 to designate official newspapers and banks.
Seconded.
Any questions or comments? Hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Page,
Aye.
Councilmember Belanca,
Aye.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford.
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz and fellow board members, I have motion number 9 to approve resolutions 1-34 and 1-41 of 2025 to adopt the financial policies, mileage rates, and payments approved prior to audit.
Second. Any questions or comments? Hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Page,
Aye.
Councilmember Belanca,
Aye.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye. Fellow board members, I have motion number 10 to approve resolutions 1-42 through 1-48 of 2025 to call for inventories, adopt property access, IT and records management policies, adopt roadway standards, and accept a highway agreement.
Second.
So the highway agreement is section 284 agreement under highway, New York State highway law, which basically says the money that we allocated as part of the budget for the roads, these are the roads it's going to be spent on. So any questions, comments? Hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Page,
Aye.
Councilmember Belanca,
Aye.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye.
Mr. Supervisor and fellow town board members, I have motion 11 to approve resolutions 1 through 49 through 1 through 59, or 55, excuse me, of 2025 to authorize professional service providers for the town.
Second.
Any questions or comments? Hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Page,
Aye.
Councilmember Belanca,
Aye.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye. That concludes our organizational meeting portion of the agenda. We will now move to our general business resolutions, which just realized you don't have the thing up. I know my first. Slight pause while it takes this to open up. I'm getting there. Okay. Oh. Gotta scroll through all the motions we just did.
Yeah, that,
Got 56.
I'll get there.
1-56.
okay, it's 56.
One, I'm almost there. 39. General, oh, look at, they put a nice big, but I known I could have just scrolled till I saw that big thing go by. Okay, sorry about that. Fellow board members, I have resolution 1-56, 2025 to approve and or ratify the following agreements.
Second.
Any questions or comments? Hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Page,
Aye.
Councilmember Belanca,
Aye.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye.
Mr. Supervisor and fellow town board members, I have resolution number 1-57, 2025. Authorize bills payable and associated contracts or agreements.
Second.
I'll just make a note that the check run did include a payment on Schedule 2 of our energy performance contract for the LEDs in the amount of $105,000. So. Any other questions, comments? Hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Page,
Aye.
Councilmember Belanca,
Aye.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye. Hold on, somebody's mic is live.
It was my mic. It was noise in the office. Apologies.
Problem.
Steve, before I read this, is this supposed to be one or two? One or two mowers?
It's supposed to be 2.
Okay. Mr. Supervisor and fellow board members, I have resolution 1-58, 2025 to authorize the purchase of 2 new mowing equipment for the municipal golf course.
Seconded.
Yeah, it's 2 mowers plus the real mower
Oh,
for the vent
for the-
track.
Yeah,
Okay.
So it's mowing equipment.
yeah.
Do you want,
Good catch.
No, I think just that clarification is good enough. So it's basically two Husqvarna mowers. They're through the Sourcewell contract. And then as Rick mentioned, it's also a reel mower, that's REEL, for the Ventrac as a backup. So the Husqvarna mowers are actually robotic mowers that will operate off of GPS.
Yep.
So any other questions or comments? Hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Page,
Aye.
Councilmember Blanca,
Aye.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye.
Mr. Supervisor and fellow board members, I have resolution number 1-59, 2025, to authorize the supervisor to accept the quotes from Mengel Metzger Bar and Company LLP for the 2024 town audits.
Seconded.
Any questions or comments? Hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Page,
Aye.
Councilmember Blanca,
Aye.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz and fellow board members, I have resolution 1-60, 2025, to make the appropriate budget transfers and adjustments to the 2024 adopted budget.
Second. Any questions or comments? Hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Page,
Aye.
Councilmember Blanca,
Aye.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye. Fellow board members, I have resolution 1-61, 2025, to hire personnel and make the attached changes.
Second.
Any questions or comments? Hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Page,
Aye.
Councilmember Blanca,
Aye.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye.
Mr. Supervisor and fellow board members, I have resolution 1-62, 2025, to commit to the full matching requirement for the Companion Animal Capital Projects Fund grant opportunity.
Second.
So back in late November, we had approved going after this grant. We were going to do so with the towns of Wheatland and Rush. Wheatland had some issues, so they haven't had a town board action approving this yet. That is scheduled next week, I believe. But we have to get this in. So what we decided to do is, rather than try to go in as three towns working together, we're going to go into the grant alone with letters from the other towns saying we're building this for the three towns. That will it will also make it easier, because if the state switched to this new grant application software, that's horrendous. In addition, we did hire a grant writer. The cost is within my approval, but I just had it here as a further resolve since this was originally done by resolution. I wanted to update via resolution. So any other questions, comments? Hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Page,
Aye.
Councilmember Blanca,
Aye.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye. It's you, right?
Mr. Supervisor and fellow board members, I have resolution 1-63, 2025, to approve the first renewal of the intermunicipal agreement with the Monroe County Sheriff's Office to continue this special attention detail program.
Seconded.
So when the original agreement was approved, the county legislature approved it. Well, let me rephrase that. They wrote it and it was originally on approval for, I think it was October. By the time it was finally approved, got through all the legislature stuff, it was January. And so that first year, we only did, what is it, that works out to 9 or 10 months worth. When we were doing this renewal, we tried to shift it so that it's a January to December. Unfortunately, the county pushed back, said they'd have to go back out to the county legislature to approve it again. So what you'll see now is it basically approves for 3 months at the old rate. And then 9 months at the new rate. So, and then what we'll have to do is next September, we'll do this approval again. Like I said, we were just trying to extend it, shift it, but after the third extension, we'll have to do a new IMA at that point. We'll try to shift it to January, or maybe even just see if sometime during this year, if they can just do an approval that will allow us at the end of this year to extend the current one and just shift it. Because the issue being, it's based off of the cost, the annual cost of that deputy. And it's not just their salary, it's all the training costs and all that stuff that go into putting that person on. Which of course, they don't know typically until December. So it really made no sense that it ran October through September, but so be it. Any questions, comments?
No, thanks for the explanation.
Hearing and seeing none, then please call the roll.
Councilmember Page,
Aye.
Councilmember Belanca.
Aye.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye. I will begin the miscellaneous reports with a note that the town and union reached a tentative agreement on the union contract in mid-December. We had it on the agenda for the workshop meeting on the 30th because we wanted it passed before January 1st. The town board passed it at that workshop meeting, and the union passed it with a vote of 34 to 6, sorry. My dyslexia kicking in, 34 to 6. So we do have an agreement. It's the town signed it. The union should be coming in soon to sign it as well. So very happy we got that done on time, even if it was in the 11th hour. In the agreement, I asked that in the future, the renewals discussion start earlier and hopefully have it sooner. Because again, it's important to have it in place prior to budgeting before we're done with the budget, because once you set the budget, it's kind of hard to change the salaries or anything that contributes to costs. So thank you to everybody who worked on it. A whole lot of effort went into it. And I think it cleans up a number of things, including if you remember a few years ago, we put together the promotional charts for some of the positions in the DPW that didn't really have a career path. We just extended those created those for all of the departments within the DPW. Because one of the other things in DPW to be promoted from like MEO to senior MEO, you had to have 1,600 hours, and it wasn't specific. So instead, we went through each piece of equipment that they have to operate, put down the number of hours it would take the average person to get proficient in it, and that's essentially the amount they can require. Although for any piece of equipment, they can test out of it. So the point is, if they've come in with experience on that piece of equipment and are already proficient, they can demonstrate that to the it's typically the union. There's a trainer position for who can also help the employees get a CDL if they don't have one currently. And then we also have what's called a heavy equipment operator, who is essentially our most talented operator. So for the heavy equipment, he does that training. So it's them and the either the commissioner of public works or the superintendent of highway, depending on which department they're in. but the two of them, if they both agree that the person passes, then those requirements go away. So it'll make promotion a lot clearer. It'll clear up the arguments, resolved a lot of the issues in that regard. So again, thank you to everybody who worked on the contract, both at the town, on the administrative side as well as on the labor side. Other announcements? Meeting, I know not a whole lot's happened over the holidays.
Been,
Right.
Other than, great, we did have a really good, event, really good turnout for the menorah lighting. It was on day 2 of Hanukkah. And, a really nice event out in front of the, recreation center. The menorah was built by one of our, maintenance mechanics. Actually, he's now a, labor foreman, Josh Duncan, gets lots of comments about how nice that menorah turned out.
Mhm.
I think I'm going to challenge him this off-season to build a Kwanzaa, something similar for Kwanzaa. So. Anyone else have anything else?
Yeah, coming up on Thursday evening, January 16th, the Martin Luther King Jr. celebration will be happening at 7 o'clock at Mary Ann Cope Parish. And the application deadline for the Henrietta Youth Hall of Fame is January 17th.
All right, thank you, Joe.
I attended my ambulance and school board meetings, and the Christmas celebration we had here was unbelievable, along with the lighting of the menorah, 2 different events. I couldn't believe the attendance at the Christmas. It was incredible. I do have one thing I was going to suggest you to consider. In the 14 years that I've been at the board level, under 3 supervisors, you have done an incredible job of seeking grants and other payment options to save taxpayer monies. It's incredible. It would be a great Henrietta Happenings article if you could do a summary of all those. I think you'd be dazzled by the amount of money that you save taxpayers by accessing various grants and opportunities that I've never seen that to that extent. It's really
I second that.
yeah.
Yeah, I could try to put that list together. A lot of that is a huge help from, we've had really good support from our assembly members as well, or legislators. So Assemblyman Bronson's been here so now going into my 8th year, and good support from both, State Senator Pat Gallivan and now State Senator Jeremy Cooney. So, we couldn't do a lot of it without their benefit, including just recently, Senator Cooney came through with support for the emergency repairs of the east wing roof. So
I bet it's in the hundreds of thousands of dollars when
Oh,
you
yeah.
sit down and think about it.
it's-
That's a lot of taxpayer money.
that's
might hit
probably
a
closer to
million.
4 million.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
I did-
Because
Definitely.
East River Road alone, again, that was Gallivan and Bronson. That was 1.25 million there alone. 500,000 there, 400,000 here.
Right.
Yeah, I'll bet we're up over 4 million. And then some
Also-
of it's also, we'd also include, like Adrian was able to go out and get $1 million for the library.
Yep.
So it's a significant chunk.
Right.
Yeah.
The team, constantly comes to me, now we don't always get them. We just had the Climate Smart Community grant was denied for doing the study on composting. We still are going after a municipal food scraps grant that was just submitted. So that's to actually build the facility, but we were also going after a Climate Smart one to look at the use of biochar and mushroom substrates to produce better compost. But for whatever reason, that one got denied, so.
The only other thing I was gonna ask you, I could have probably done it offline, but are the lights on our fields and courts on a timer?
Generally, so we've during the winter, the field lights no longer, now that the sports out there are off, but we've kept the best, the hardcore, the ones on the fields go off now. But the ones on the courts, we've been keeping up because we've had people out, whenever there isn't snow on the ground, you'll hear basketballs bouncing.
Yeah, one night when we left the meeting here,
Right.
they were out there playing.
So, and,
I had noticed the fields on before, so you turned. it
yeah,
off.
so there was probably a few weeks past the last event that we realized, oh, we should shut those down.
Thank you.
Yep. Any other questions,
I
comments?
have nothing to.
All right, do we have any additional discussion items or comments from the public? Come on up.
Yes, it's on Nicholas Hurd, 62 Wickwine Lane. So I'm pretty sure that the council is aware that I was very, very ill with a severely infected arm for quite a while. I almost lost my arm. Fortunately, that didn't happen. That's why I have not been here. I was seriously very sick with a very, very severe staph infection for 2 months, going 2.5 months. And so this is the reason why. So with that being said, I wanted to point out that aside from that, which is a separate issue, this council obviously granted a special land use permit for, I believe it was Shake Shack, right, to open up a restaurant, which I realize incidentally that anything that goes on within that facility, as far as like sanitization or whatever it is not within your purview. That is strictly on them. But I just wanted to let you know to start with that I caught pneumonia from there. I had gone nowhere else. I went directly home, and within 1 day, I got extremely sick the same day that my arm got infected, which is completely unrelated, but still, I had a flu, which I haven't had since I was 14, turned into pneumonia. When I got better and I was able to actually function, I called the Board of Health. They actually sent a health inspector down there, okay? And while they couldn't cite them for any serious sanitization violations, they did in fact find that the sanitary procedures were not up to snuff. And the inspector called me directly, and I have her name, and they went over everything. They had to have them clean it up, get rid of all the germs, get rid of all the dirty stuff on the tables and on the floors. I'm just letting you know that in the future, if you're going to grant a special land use permit, especially when it comes to food and any place that's preparing food, it should be looked at a lot more carefully. I'm pretty sure it was looked at carefully.
That's not part of the purview of a special use permit. That's part of the Department of Health.
Yeah, the health department looks at that.
And I will note that these are allegations. It's not been proven that that was the issue.
Well, I'm just letting you know, okay?
Right.
Because I can swear to you that I went nowhere else. And I went directly home after
Fine.
that. I've never eaten there before. I tried it once, and this is what had occurred. So that, I'm gonna leave that I just wanted to bring that. Now, with regards to the stuff that you basically approved on the points of order for council meetings, according to Robert's rules and everything else, I realize that these are not additions. These are things that you do, I guess, annually, every year, okay? And it doesn't really change because if it did, there would be a new revision. The last revision was, I think, whenever it was, it says that, but so whatever it is that you've done is the same thing. However, what I wanted to bring up with regards to decorum, conduct, both of the public and of anybody else, the idea of disruptive behavior, that sort of thing, without getting into a long diatribe, which I'm not going to do. I'm not going to rehash old stuff, but I'm going to bring up something that I need to bring up. When I come to a council meeting, okay, I do not expect an individual that sits on this council and that person knows who he is, okay, to come out and say that you're an expert on everything in a sarcastic manner. I don't expect that kind of thing. Now, I don't treat anybody here in that regard with disrespect in that way. Okay, and I don't expect somebody, and that's you, Mr. Stafford, you're the one that came out with that, and it's on the videotape from that meeting. I don't appreciate snide remarks. I don't appreciate sarcastic remarks. Okay? I never came out and ever said or ever claimed that I was an expert on everything. That would be absolutely ridiculous. I would never say such a thing. And for someone to say something like that, where this is there and it stays there on the video because it gets posted, anybody that has access can watch it. It is extremely disparaging and embarrassing. So what I'm going to say is this, okay? With regards to your rules on conduct, it should go both ways. It is not just for the public, and it should go double for anybody that's an elected official that is representing the public. That should go double in all areas, whether it's out in the hallway, whether it's in the office, whether it's any place else in the building. Okay? You guys that are elected, right, elected positions are supposed to be a cut above the average person. Supposed to be. I'm not saying that it is. I'm saying that's what it's supposed to be. I don't necessarily agree with that. I think everybody, regardless of whether they're elected or not, okay, should be under the same rules, no matter what the situation is. Okay, but it should be it's a double-edged sword that should cut both ways. So I would just appreciate it if the wisecrack remarks, if you have any, keep them to yourself. Okay, don't put it out here where it's on video. That's all I'm going to ask. I ask for the same courtesy. Okay, I have never once insulted anybody, okay, with something like that. Lastly, the last thing, I have a question. According to the IT rule that's in there that you, again, reapproved and reinducted as part of the same thing that's worded the same way, that hasn't been altered or changed. It states that digital records are to be kept for 7 years. My question before I even go any further is, does this apply to all of the digital records that are in the town's data bank in the computer system, or is this only specifically related to only certain data files? I need to know whether it's everything, or whether it's all inclusive, or whether there's a restriction on that.
Not an expert in record retention, so I can't
Well,
answer that question here right
Would
now.
the town attorney be able to answer that? He should know.
I haven't reviewed that policy, but I can tell you that the state issues and promulgates a records retention policy and schedule, and it does vary depending upon the type of record. It's not the town that issues that
Yeah.
records retention.
But you
schedule.
see, the issue is that this particular rule, or it's a law that's in the town law, which has nothing to do with the state. So what I'm asking is the 7-year retention rule that the town has, which is independent from the state.
It's not independent.
It's not independent. Can you explain that to me, please?
The state dictates what we can and can't do.
Right.
We didn't override it. The only way you can override something like that is through home rule law, which
Right.
we did not invoke home rule for that. So it's probably just echoing what the requirement for that particular thing is from an IT standpoint for the state. I just don't know them off the top of my head. I do know our IT department is aware of the IT rules. Our town clerk is aware of all the records rules. Library knows the.
But then
rules for the
I'll have to ask
library.
Ms. Weisner about that, because again, I mean, I don't know. I know.
I guess my question is, what's your point? What are you trying to
Well,
get
the
at?
thing is that this has to do with certain records that are within that 7-year period that the town says they don't have. And these records are, of course, crucial. It has to do with tax records from before, for prior years that were supposed to have been, I
So-
guess, saved, but what I need to know is it supposed to go back 7 years for that too?
They-
Or is
Can
that,
I interject?
Yeah.
yes, go ahead, Ms. Weisner.
This is Rebecca Weisner. I'm Records Management Officer for the town. I'm not sure what you're referring to in Andrew's IT policy, but as far as records management policies, We wouldn't keep virtual records for a set number of time because virtual is just the medium. It depends on what the record is. It's like saying we're going to keep paper records for 6 years. Well, it depends on what's on that paper. Same with the virtual records. It depends what's on that virtual record.
When you
on
say
how long
virtual,
you keep it. So we keep things, we do follow the LGR MIF, which is through New York State Archives. It sets the minimum standards. There are certain records that we've decided as a town to keep longer. But we do follow the minimum retention periods, but it depends on what type of record it is, not what medium it's on.
The thing I will also note is, I'm not sure this is exactly the one you're referring to, but you have to understand what is and is not a record. So if somebody does a calculation
right?
and puts in into the table what the result of that calculation is, that is the record, not the calculation itself.
No, I understand that.
And so sometimes you've asked for things that there was never a record created.
I understand that.
Okay, so, but if there was a record created, to Becky's point, whether it's, soft copy or hard copy, the policy remains the same.
Well, what we're talking about here is the actual mu values for the last, let's say, 7 years, which would have been the result, not something that is a calculation. And so Ms. Wiseman did in fact give me a printout, which is a list of what records are retained by the county and so forth, but that does not necessarily reflect what you're required to retain. And if so, and I did put a request in for those mu values, okay, which are 12 months of values for the last 7 years. And it came back that for some reason, they couldn't find them or whatever it is. So my question is, if those values are something that is the end result of the calculation, would that be something that you would have to keep for 7 years?
I have no idea what a mu value is. I have no idea what you're referring to, so I cannot give a specific answer. I can give a general answer. Again, if it is a electronic record, we would keep that for whatever the duration is, depending on what that type of record is. So like email correspondence has a different length than minutes. Has a
Right.
different length than applications for special use permits. I don't know what those dates are, but again, our records officer does and.
I will
makes sure
have to
we're
then
fine
speak with
that.
Ms. Wiseman separately about it. Okay, that's the only question I had about the IT policy. Okay, thank you.
Any other comments from the public? And hearing and seeing none, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Hearing no objections, meeting adjourned.